Hi everyone, my name is Shauna and welcome to TACoS Computer Science Day 1. Today we're just going to introduce computer science and the microbit. So you should have gotten a microbit, 2 batteries, a micro USB cable, a couple alligator clips, and the joystick bit. You can put most of these things to the side for today. All you're going to need is your microbit and your cable. Today we are going to talk about what is computer science and what is a microbit. If you've been here before, this might be a little bit of a review, but stick around, hopefully you'll learn something and have a bit of fun. At the end of today's video, we're going to do this activity where you're going to create and download your very first microbit program. First things first. What is computer science? Well, computer science is the study of computers and how to compute things. To compute something is to determine it, especially by using math. So in your head, you can compute 2 + 2 = 4. We use computers to compute all sorts of different solutions to all sorts of different problems. All computers do 4 things. They gather input, store data, process the data, and produce output. So what is a microbit? Well, a microbit is a computer, which means it does all 4 of those things. It has inputs, which is a method to give the microbit information. For the microbit, there are buttons. There's the A and B buttons on the side, a Bluetooth radio, 3 analog pins across the bottom, USB, temperature sensor, a light sensor, a compass, and an accelerometer. The accelerometer, it sounds like a crazy word, but really all it means is that the microbit knows where it is in space and it knows how fast it's moving. Of course, the microbit also has a set of outputs. It has 25 LED lights on the front, a Bluetooth radio, those 3 analog pins on the bottom, and a USB. And if you're a smarty pants, you already noticed that 3 of these things are an input and an output. Giving a computer instructions on how to handle input and output is called programming. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to program the microbit to tell us hello and goodbye. We're going to do this in 5 easy steps. First, we're going to create a new project in MakeCode, and then we're going to get familiar with the editor. Then we're going to write our program, flash the microbit, and test our code. Step 1. We need to create a new project in MakeCode. Go ahead and open your favorite browser. Today I'm using Firefox, but I'll show you something with Chrome a little bit later. Go to makecode.microbit.org. And when you're there, what you'll see is this screen. You've got your projects on the top, and then there are some tutorials down here that we can talk about later. Go ahead and click this purple New Project box. That'll bring up this pop-up called Create a Project. So you need to give your project a name. Today we'll just do Hello Microbit, or whatever you want, and then click the green Create button. Step 2. Getting familiar with the MakeCode editor. The microbit can be programmed using a block-based programming language. You should be on a page that looks like this. It has 2 blocks, the onStart and the forever block. We're going to use these and other blocks to tell our microbit what to do. On the far left of the screen, you should see a virtual microbit. The virtual microbit lets you see how your program will behave before you download your program to your own physical microbit. Each time you add, change, or remove a block, the virtual microbit will restart and run the code that is in the editor. To the right of the virtual microbit, there are several category tabs that hold all of the possible blocks we can use to program our microbit. So you can click around and explore some of those things. There's basic ones that have strings, which is a group of characters. You can use the LEDs. We've got our input, of course, and we've got music, radio, loops, all sorts of things. So go ahead and close that and look a little further right. The main portion of our screen is the MakeCode editor. This is where we will place blocks that we are using to program our microbit. When you create a new project, 2 blocks will always appear in the editor, the onStart and forever blocks that we talked about before. Any blocks you place within the onStart block will run when the microbit turns on or resets, while any blocks inside the forever block will run over and over and over again as long as the microbit is on. We won't use these blocks today, but they'll be very helpful in the future. Step 3, writing our first program. We are going to use the A and B buttons on the microbit as inputs, and we're going to use the LED screen as an output. So, first things first, we need to tell the microbit which inputs it should look for. So click on the input category and drag 2 on button A pressed blocks into the editor. Now we've got a way to tell the microbit to look for button A, we need a way to tell it to look for button B. So all you need to do is go to this drop down here and click B. Great! Now we've got a block for each button. Now we want to have the microbit tell us hello when we push button A and goodbye when we push button B. To do that, we'll go into this basic menu and we'll drag out show string hello. In programming, we call blocks of text strings. You can see this block fits securely into the on button pressed block. We'll need 2 of those, 1 for each. Now we can replace the text inside of our new blocks with whatever text we want. So we're going to go ahead and change the text in box A to say hello and then your name. And we'll change the text for button B to say goodbye and your name. That's it! Congratulations! You just wrote your very first program for the microbit. We'll go ahead and use the virtual microbit on the left side of the screen to see if our program is working the way we expect it to. So click button A to test that. It should say hello and your name. And then test button B. That should say goodbye. Great. It looks like our program is running the way we expect it to, so we'll download our program onto the physical microbit and see if it works. Step 4, flashing the microbit. Putting code onto the microbit is called flashing, and it can look a little bit different depending on your system, what browser you're using, and what kind of computer. Regardless of what you're using, you're going to want to take your microbit and the cable that you got, plug the small end into the microbit, like that, and then you're going to plug the big end into your computer. Once you've done that, if you're working on a Windows system or maybe on a Mac, you'll get a pop-up window, and this is your microbit. It works a lot like a flash drive, you'll see in a minute. So go back to the Make Code editor and click Download. For me, on Firefox, my download will appear up here. And I just need to navigate to my Downloads folder, open that microbit folder, and then drag the hex file that was downloaded onto the microbit. And when you do that, you'll see that your microbit starts flashing, thus called flashing the microbit. When it's done, it'll stop flashing, and you're good to go. Since this does look a little bit different on each computer, we included some links to different pages that can help you depending on your system. We have these Windows browsers linked: Microsoft Edge, Internet Explorer, Chrome, and Firefox. And if you're on a Mac browser, we've got Safari, Chrome, and Firefox as well. If you need more help, just go check those links out. If you're using a Chrome browser, there's a really cool shortcut you can use that lets you bypass all of the folder moving. All you have to do is click on these 3 dots next to the download button, and then pair device, and then you can pair your device to the Chrome browser and download your code onto the Microbit with just one click. Now that we have flashed our Microbit, there's only one thing left to do, and that is to test our code. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your Microbit and you're just gonna click the buttons. And if you push A, you should see it say hello, just like it did in the virtual editor. And same for if you push B, it should say goodbye. It's a really long message, so it might take a second. There we go. And then we can push B. And it says goodbye. Congratulations, you programmed your Microbit. We programmed it to take an input, the button presses, and to give us an output, which was the text scrolling across the LEDs. Inside the Microbit, a lot of things had to be processed in order to produce the text on the LED display. The Microbit needs to know which LEDs to turn off and on, and when to turn them off and on, and for how long those switches should last. Thanks for joining me today. This was day 1. We went over what is computer science. We talked about the 4 things that computers have in common. We talked a little bit about your Microbit, what it can do, all of its inputs and outputs, and then we did that activity. If you want more to do, this activity was really easy. It took you no time at all. I suggest going back to MakeCode and looking at those tutorials. There's tons of stuff that you can do on there that'll definitely keep you busy, and you can play with all the LEDs. There's one that makes a flashing heart. It's super fun. Go check those out and come back tomorrow for day 2. We're going to talk about variables.